Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Chatty Corner for May. Yes, here we are. We are doing another Chatty Corner. It doesn't feel like it's been that long since the last one. Part of that is because it was only like 3 weeks, and also because I only released 2 videos since the last one as well. So there is that too. And it doesn't feel like there's a lot to cover. But we're gonna do what we can. Where are we at? So actually, fun fact behind the scenes. This is my third attempt at recording this because I recorded two before and I kind of didn't like where they went. To be honest, hopefully this is a better one. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out. So yes, this should be ready to go. This one's a little bit late as well because it was supposed to go up on Friday, but it didn't because I got a little bit ill and yeah, it was a cold. Don't worry. It was not that. Don't worry. I'm fine. So what's happened over the last month? Let's go over everything. So I had a look at the comments on April's Chatty Corner. There isn't really a lot that I want to sort of draw attention to in the comments of that. There is not a lot to cover there. So the week after that was supposed to be Final Fantasy VII, Why It's Rad, where I was going to go back and look at the original Final Fantasy VII and just sort of talk about what made it great. And I just didn't. I was working on it, and I recorded the commentary, and I did all the rest of it, and I started editing it. And I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't very good. So, yeah, that just got cancelled. I did announce it on Twitter, which is Bob the Pet Ferret for updates. Yeah, you should make sure you're following that if you're not already. I just threw it out. It just wasn't very good. Honestly, I thought it was kind of a bit rubbish. So, and you guys deserve better than that. So I'm gonna, yeah, just thought. And I was already kind of behind on it, but it was supposed to be timed for the release of the remake, and I just didn't get it done. So that's fine. So the next video that came out, that did come out, was the Ferret's Firsts on Batman Arkham Knight. So let's have a look at some of the comments that you left on that video. So the first comment on Batman Arkham Knight was from San021, which said, "Good luck with this game. My least favourite of the Arkham series. The Batmobile felt like a sidekick you don't even want, but had to have. I couldn't enjoy the game because of it most of the time. I tried running away from it when I could, until I was forced to bring it along with me." And yeah, my experience when playing that little bit of the game was very much like, this thing handles terribly. Like, I was trying to like do some really cool stuff with it because you're Batman and you they made it look all stylish, but then the handling is not stylish at all, and it disappointed me. And yeah, the battle stuff, like I edited a ton of stuff out in that video because the just the battle mode stuff was just boring. And like while I was playing it, I just ran out of things to say about it because it was just not very good. And then as a result, I just chopped most of it out of the video when I watched it back. So that video was actually done in October last year, I think. I think it was October when I recorded it. And I was going to do it sort of in the run up to the Advent calendar, and that was kind of when it was supposed to be. And then I just kind of got so much to do on the Advent calendar in the top 100 of the 2010s that I was just like, do you know what? That can wait. I can put that to one side. I knew that I wanted to do it, and it ended up being done now. And when I watched it back, I was like, this is really good, but that one specific bit with the battle mode, that one specific bit, I was like, this is where it all falls apart. It picks up again after that, thankfully, thanks to my the jokey tone I took on with that video. I was quite proud of that video, actually. Next comment was from Tabby Claw. "Somehow this has given me the desire to see your Batman and your Lara Croft interact. I feel like there would be no survivors." If you're newer to the channel and you don't know what's going on there, so basically years and years and years ago I did a Let's Play of Tomb Raider 4, and as that Let's Play went on, I kind of developed my own character for Lara Croft, where basically just drawing off who she is already, so very sassy, very rich, were the two things that I was working with, and like I would have conversations with her, which I remember back in the day there were people responding to that by saying like, "Bro, it's a game, she can't hear you." I'm just like, yeah, I'm making a video for the internet, I'm trying to be entertaining, and having imaginary conversations with the main character is kind of a way to be entertaining with it. Jesus Christ. I don't know what you want me to be doing instead, but that's just how that's a blast from the past. I don't get comments like that anymore. Anyway, that's beside the point. I do remember though back in the day, people had to go at me for talking to the characters in games, and I'm not going to stop doing that because it's entertaining. Um, but yes, I put on the sort of Lara Croft voice where I talked very posh, and a lot of it just kind of devolved into her talking about how much she dislikes poor people. Um, so that was always a fun time when I did that, and yeah, sort of I can kind of see. I mean, the Batman thing that I did in that video was very different. A lot of that was just playing on the fact that I genuinely do find it hilarious. Like the gruff Batman, I genuinely find it hilarious. And I know that people love Kevin Conroy as Batman and all the rest of it, but this is less about the actor. The actor does a great job. You know, obviously he wouldn't have been playing Batman for so long if he didn't do a good job. But here's the thing about Batman. Every time that they do these sort of really grim, dark Batmans, and you've got like this really gruff Batman, I just find it funny. I just cannot take it seriously, even though it's like super, super serious. And I think that's just it, though. When it's too serious, for me, it loops right back to being a parody of itself. So a lot of that so the Batman thing was just like, I'm going to be angry all the time, no matter what I'm saying. I like puppies, that sort of thing. And it's really fun to do that. The fun part of doing that was, of course, just putting bat as a prefix on everything. So here's a bat phone, bat surprise, all that sort of stuff. That was fun. So I was coming at that with a very different attitude to Lara Croft when I portrayed her in that Let's Play. But they are both very rich people, and I could imagine it would be a very interesting time if I was having those two have a conversation. It would be me talking to myself in two different voices, one like this and one like this, and that's really not easy to switch behind. It would be interesting to have a conversation between those two, because it would be probably one of the most political things I would ever do, because it would just evolve into the failings of the billionaire class and my personal feelings funneled through that, and I'm not sure we need that right now. Get all the bootlickers out in force being like, oh, don't make fun of Batman, but he's a billionaire and he's using his money to buy loads of gadgets and invest in like a big, hefty, unwieldy vehicle. Which, I already went into the whole like ins and outs of like, how does Batman with a driving license work anyway? I imagine Bruce Wayne just throws a bunch of money at the system and then that solves the problem. But you see, there's a lot of problems with Gotham. Gotham has a lot of inequality. There's a lot of injustice with Gotham. And he goes out and he punches criminals who are often, the people living in the sort of the worst corners of society, and to be honest, a lot of them probably just their life went in the wrong direction, and with a little bit of like rehabilitation, they could be turned around. But no, Batman punches them in the face, and that's where Bruce Wayne invests his money, and not in I don't know, social programs that might prevent people from joining gangs. And just improve the streets of Gotham, make them a more nicer place to live. But no, gotta be Batman. I gotta beat people up because my parents are dead and all that sort of stuff. So that's fun. So it's gonna be just I don't think I would ever do that as a video, but it would be, if I did, it would be like just a one-off thing, or maybe a Patreon bonus. There's a reason to donate to me on Patreon. That could be an idea. Maybe, probably not, but I'll see. Yeah, it has made me kind of wonder what that would be like, and maybe think about doing that, but I don't think I actually will. But it is fun to think about. But we'll see what happens. But I had a lot of fun doing that Batman portrayal, just the my bat stuff. It was a fun time doing that whole voice. This is the thing, when like I said, I did that video months ago, and like a good half a year ago at this point now, and something made me want to go back and edit it. It wasn't just like, I'd recorded it and then was just like, do you know what, I'm going to move on and just leave that one. That just isn't going to happen. Like, something just in the back of my mind was like, no, I need to put that on the to-do list and get that video out. Even if it's months late, it needs to be seen. And then when I was editing it, I was like, oh, this is why. This is why. And so now you've seen it. There you go. Hope you enjoyed it, and you guys definitely did seem to enjoy it. I was getting a lot of comments and reaction to that one. Surprisingly, Ferret's First don't normally do as well as that one seemed to do. Next comment was Cartoon World 92 asked me, why are you starting with this game? At least play Arkham City first. I'm like, yeah. Here's the thing. There are two categories for games that end up as Ferret's First. One is games that I've picked up for myself, or games that are sitting in my backlog. So stuff that I've already got an interest in, basically. And I'm just like, let's throw a video together for that. You'll see a few of those coming up in the coming weeks. You'll see. And then you've got PlayStation Plus games, so the free PlayStation Plus games. I've got a whole backlog of those to get through. That's what Arkham Knight. I keep calling it Arkham City. It's not. It's Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight was one of the free games, probably like September-ish, I think, and that's why I did it in October. And I just thought I'll jump into it. I've never played a Batman Arkham game. Let's see how this goes. And I know it's not the first one. I know it's not Asylum or City, which are like, obviously, I think, the comments said play Arkham City first. It's like, surely you should play Asylum first, because that is the first one. I don't really have a lot of interest in the Batman Arkham games. The only reason I played this is because I got it for free. And because it was there. Why not? And I made it entertaining enough. But just, there isn't really a huge interest for me for playing the Arkham games. Like, honestly, that video is probably going to be my entire experience of it. And I have no real desire to go back and play anymore. I mean, I've heard great things about Asylum and how great a game that is, but I'm just like, it's Batman, I don't care. I'm not a massive fan of like superheroes and Marvel DC stuff in general. I'm just not a fan. Like, it's not me saying it's bad. It's just I don't like it. I don't get on with it. Like, it just does not resonate with me. As an indication of this, I have not been following the MCU in any way, shape, or form. But as someone who's on the Geeky Brummy podcast, everyone else on that show has been following it a lot more. And they were like, obviously Endgame came out and it was the big event and everything. Here's me having seen, I think, Iron Man and the first Avengers movie and literally nothing else. So I was just like, you know what, I'm going to go see Endgame for the content. Because, let me present my opinion as someone who has not followed the MCU. And it had the same reaction. I had the same reaction to that movie that I have to all superhero movies, or in fact all superhero media, which is just like, I recognise why people like this. I have exactly zero emotional reaction to this. Nothing here connects with me. It always has been the case. I've just never been into superheroes. Let's get back to the original point, which is that I'm not going to go back and play Arkham City. Which can't be bothered. It's one of those things that if it came out as like a free thing, like Arkham Knight did, I might check it out. Why not? But nothing's making me rush out and play those earlier ones, or indeed return to Arkham Knight. So, yeah, just wanted to sort of clarify that, really. I just did it for a laugh, I didn't really care about playing Batman games before, and I probably never will again. So, there we go. The next video that I put out was losing the plot on Control, specifically on the world building and where some of the weird ideas kind of came from and how it all loosely kind of vaguely fits together. And I got no comments on that video. So few of you watched that video, and I am disappointed in all of you. How dare you? How dare you? I spent a good 2 weeks on the Control video, and I put 3 hours into the Batman one, and the Batman one did better. I'm disappointed. I'm upset. I'm not talking to any of you anymore. There will be no new videos until that one is watched extensively. I'm joking. But yeah, like it was slightly like, come on, guys. I understand that Control isn't as massively popular, but come on, guys, please watch that video. I put a lot of work into that one. I'm very proud of that video. Um, if it's because like massive spoiler warning at the beginning, and you're kind of like, oh, maybe I want to play the game first before I find everything out about it. I'm like, go play Control then, right now, do it. Stop this video and go play Control. Come back to me in like a week when you've played the whole thing, including the DLC, and then we can talk. Okay? Cool. Excellent. Yeah, Control was a really fun video to put together though. There's a lot of really fun stuff in there. There are ideas that I had for that video that just didn't quite make it in just because of like the time frames and stuff, but yeah, I had a lot of ideas that went into that one, and yeah, it's the first video where I was just kind of throwing everything into it, and I had to cut stuff back because otherwise I would probably have never finished it if I didn't. So, I mean, it loses nothing from those cuts, but it would have made it like really nice and cool to do more stuff with it. But you all need to go and watch it and then comment on it and tell me how great it is. And yeah, elsewhere in comments, there are in fact a couple of things I want to draw attention to from the past few weeks. I got a comment on the Resident Evil 2 Why It's Rad video that I kind of want to address publicly, which is from the Phoebo, asking Dark Souls 3 and why it's bad next. Simple answer, no. I haven't played a Dark Souls game, let alone all three of them, so I don't know what you'd get out of me for that video. I'd just be like, I don't know. I haven't played it. What do you want me to do? And again, it's kind of like the Arkham games where I'm like, I'm not massively into the idea of playing them. And I don't know what it is, just Dark Souls just never appeals to me. Like, I've played a little bit of Neo, and I played a little bit of Bloodborne, as you've seen on the channel. That's literally all I've played, those videos. I do intend to go back to both of them. Those two kind of do appeal to me, whereas Dark Souls itself doesn't. Because Dark Souls, I think it's just the setting. Like, Bloodborne's got that sort of like Lovecraftian Victorian aesthetic, and I'm totally on board for that, and Neo's obviously the feudal Japan aesthetic, and I'm on board with that. Dark Souls, by comparison, just feels really drab. And I know that there's a lot more stuff going on than just the medieval fantasy thing, but like, I don't know, dark medieval fantasy is just boring to me, so I've never jumped into Dark Souls. Like, I'm aware of how good they're supposed to be as games, and again, it's one of those things where like, maybe if I got a copy for free, I'd be totally down with playing that series if I got the 3 games for free, but I'm not going to spend money to jump into it on a whim. Unfortunately, we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, yeah, no Dark Souls 3. There will be no Dark Souls content on this channel, my friend. How dare you suggest... No, I'm joking. No, it's one of those things that just never has really appealed to me. So, yeah. Tell you what, you all go and play Control, and then maybe I might consider playing Dark Souls. Deal? Excellent. So that's kind of covered everything that you guys have said. So what's coming next? That's the question you're all asking. What's coming next? Well. Okay. So this should be going out on a Monday. Wednesday, I'm going to be putting out 2 Ferrets Firsts. One of them is Final Fantasy VII Remake, and the other one is going to be A Plague Tale: Innocence. So remember how I said, like, sometimes games that I've picked up, the first time I play them, I'm going to do it as a Ferrets First. That's the case of both of them. It was my birthday in April, so I got a bunch of new stuff, so I want to share some things. Just share my opinions on things. On Friday is the promised Super Smash Bros. Ultimate versus PlayStation All-Stars video, where I kind of pit them against each other and say why one is rad and why one is bad. And I know that I'm going to get some confused comments on that one, but it will all make sense when it goes out. It's basically just sort of pointing out why one is a huge success and why the other one was not. That'll be a fun one, hopefully, but it'll be a good one. So that'll be out Friday. It's all good. And then next week, on the 15th of May, I will be doing Why It's Rad, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Let's join in with the conversation everyone else is having, because I've been glued to that game quite extensively for the past few months. well, past month, I should say, past 2 weeks is more accurate actually. So that's what's going out. I'm doing a why it's red on that just because I want to do a video on Animal Crossing. Why the hell not? Here's Animal Crossing. I can't do a losing the plot on Animal Crossing because it doesn't have one. Unless you're just making up your own story. In the following week, there will be 2 ferrets first. I will probably separate them out across the week. One of them will be Resident Evil 3 Remake, and the other one will be Wonderful 101, which will go on the Friday, which is the 22nd of May, because the Wonderful 101 Remaster comes out then. So, I have the original Wii U version, so I'm going to play that and give my opinions, and then it'll be out the same day that the remaster comes out. So, SEO, I guess, is what I'm doing with that. No, I'm just tying it in. I just like tying stuff in sometimes. Not a lot of things being tied in this month. There's a bunch of new-ish games getting ferrets first, and obviously Animal Crossing's getting a video. But, there's nothing like brand new. Just stuff that's been out in the past couple of months. Or last year, in the case of Plague Tale. And on the 29th of May will be another episode of Losing the Plot. Originally, it was going to be The Last of Us, because that was the original date that The Last of Us 2 was set for, and obviously that's been delayed to June. And I will say now, there will be probably a Last of Us video to time with that, so it's been bumped back a month. So it's like, what do I want to do with that? And also, it kind of worked. It also kind of worked that got pushed back because I feel like maybe it's going to be too similar to the first episode of Losing the Plot, which was, of course, on Uncharted 4. Obviously, came from the same developer. It's going to be focusing on character interactions, and I feel like maybe do something different with it, because episode 1 focused on character interactions. It focused on character writing and that sort of thing. The second episode focused on world building, and that's what the Control video was. It was talking about the world of Control, and sort of the lore behind it and how that's all built up. So I wanted to do something different to those two for episode 3. I was trying to think, something maybe just about plot structure, something with a really cool twist or something, and maybe like, I don't know, or maybe like a story that could only work as a game, or something like that. Just do something interesting with it, something different, something that distinguishes itself from the first 2 episodes, because those are already distinct from each other. And let's do another distinct one for the third one, and then we can do Last of Us, which kind of reflects the first episode again. And I decided, you know what, last minute change. I don't want to do a really long game or anything like that because last minute change. But then I thought, hang on, not long games. Why don't I go back to the very beginning of the channel and do a Portal Losing the Plot? Oh no, yeah. So the reason I picked that is because I think it was when I did the top 100 and I replayed a bit of Portal 2 to get some footage for that. And I think one of the things that sort of occurred to me while playing that was do you know what? The story for this is really, really good, but I feel like you couldn't adapt it. And that's kind of what I'm going to focus on, is how did that game get written in a way that could only work as a game? So I'm going to have a look at that. Hopefully you'll like that one. So there we go. That'll be it there. And obviously, also on the 29th of May, you'll be getting the Chatty Corner for June. That's going out on May the 29th because of just the way that May's structured. It starts on a Friday and pretty much ends on a Friday as well. It's now we've got 5 Fridays. But yes, so that's what you're getting. And yeah, so that's the next month. And now there should be an end screen coming up on screen now. There we go. I've got an end screen going. So if you could follow me on Twitter at the Cheap Ferret or Bob the Pet Ferret, if you could donate to me on Patreon, links are in the description. Go to geekybrummy.com. I'm on the podcast and I do a weekly thing there. And I'll see you next time on another Chatty Corner. Bye.